Welcome to SENCo calendar for November, and this month's theme is reviews. The question I want us to consider is how will we do this remotely? Not all reviews are the same, and this will affect our decisions even more than it has before this year. So what reviews have we got to do this year, this term? Well, obviously we have our higher needs cases or top-up funding education healthcare plan cases. Then we have all the children who are on the rest of the register, and we also have cases that are in the assessment stage that need reviewing also. At Kensington, it's been an ever-changing picture with the second lockdown. We had planned that we would do all of our calls over the phone anyway, with the option of video call for those parents who could access it with ease. But I had also planned several meetings that were going to be face-to-face. Mostly because external agents were having to come or there was a need for translation. We've had to rethink those, and we're going to have to do those now using video call and support those families to access that technology. But you know, it's the world that we live in at the moment. We're having to be flexible and change as the situation changes. The plan had been for the high needs children to meet with the class teacher, given that we're all working together in the same environment. That was possible up until today. And so now we've had to rethink. Fortunately, because of the systems that we have in place with our online provision maps that we use from EduKey, we were able to change tack very nimbly, which was lucky. Instead of meeting with the class teachers, now we will be doing a remote process. So I will be writing a draft review, which they then populate, and I can then use that to have the conversation with the parent and then draft a new plan for next term and get the class teachers to have a look at that. So a little bit of a broken up process, but all the essential elements are still there. The important thing for me is to have that meaningful contact with the parent and meaningful contact with the class teacher. The fact that they're not all happening at the same time within the same meeting is not ideal, but it's the best option for us at the moment given the circumstances. The trickiest issue that I've had has actually been the new cases. Liaising with parents initially in the first instance without having that face-to-face contact is really, really tricky. It's a difficult point in the process, and to just be writing someone a letter or even giving them a phone call is a very harsh way to start that conversation. What I had done previously was sidle up to people during parents' evening face to face, so it wasn't too much of a shock. But you know, we can't do that at the moment. All our parents' evenings have been done over the phone. So I'm still considering on a case-by-case basis how to approach those new initial cases. Some of those parents have been parents who've already been coming to us and making inquiry about their child's needs anyway, so that was fairly straightforward. But for the ones where that hasn't been the case, it is really a matter of trying to catch them on their way, walking through the one-way system in the playground, and try and start a bit of a small talk conversation with them. Very, very awkward, very difficult. One thing that has helped us with that whole process of contact with parents, our existing parents particularly, was that we set up a designated email address so that we would have @info for the school. All of our parents were emailing there, and the SEN queries were getting lost in the vast number of emails that the office were receiving. So it was really interrupting the timely fashion in which we could respond to parents' inquiries. So what we did was set up an @inclusion email account and started to use that instead, and that's been really successful and really helpful and a really good way to not only answer parents' queries but to give them specific information and also to support those initial interactions that I was talking about earlier. So you can send an email from there, and it's a little bit more detached because it's from the team, it's worded as if it's from the machine rather than from me personally, and it's less alarming in that initial contact. You know, can you please call the school, Mrs. Harris would like to speak to you, that sort of thing. And it's difficult, like I said, it's not ideal, but it has been a really useful tool in trying to keep communication timely. So for us all, it's a very complex environment for us in terms of communication at the moment. And that has huge challenges, but also I think we're all seeing that there have been some unforeseen advantages to that as well. Zoom meetings, we're all, I'm sure, getting a little bit, the novelty's worn off, but it's certainly been a way of bringing people together who might not necessarily have found it easy to attend a meeting in the past. We found that for our local authority officers to attend an annual review, and that has been a much more efficient way of accessing the meeting for them, for instance. I do have 2 annual reviews coming up in December. They're not Year 5 children, but I'm not sure if we've got external agents coming or not yet, because the invitations have just gone out. But certainly it makes those meetings accessible to people who might be at a distance in another local authority, for instance, which both of those cases are in our neighbouring local authorities. So there are advantages, and I think there's a lot that we can learn from and carry forward into the future. So coming up for December, our theme will be assess, because we'll be coming to the end of the term. Please do come and join us then, and in the meantime, keep an eye on our social media. Bye.